Welcome to Uriah Heep, the Magician's Podcast. I'll be covering every studio song the band has recorded and every bonus track that I can find. Each week we'll go over a new song from the beginning to where they are currently, and as they keep adding albums, I'll keep adding shows. Let the deep dive party begin.
In the magic garden, some were singing, some were dancing.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Uriah Heep, the Magician's Podcast. I am your host, Scott Haskin, and today, believe it or not, we are doing our 250th Uriah Heep song review. 250 songs in the studio. That's a lot of music, guys, and we still have a couple albums to go yet, and plus the new one. So there's lots more to cover. And some good news, I believe that I have tracked down now every single bonus track, at least every one that I'm aware of, and will have copies of them to play on the show so I can actually complete the entire thing. I am really excited about that because I didn't know if that was going to be possible for the longest time, but I have. So yay to that. We'll have those coming to you later. Once I've caught up with all the albums, the studio albums, we've done some of the bonus tracks along the way if they were covered on the deluxe edition. Anything that was from the 10 Miles High unreleased album, I included those versions in the songs from the Firefly season. So, but there's some that were not on the Firefly season that are just individual songs that didn't duplicate a song that had been redone by the band. So I've got those, got a few other surprises for you. So we're not done yet. We got cool things coming your way. Anyway, if you don't believe me, then listen to today's song. It is called Believe. Who knew? Here you go. Here is Believe by Uriah Heep from the album Into the Wild. Well, I got to tell you, I am just grinning from ear to ear right off the bat. First of all, beautiful organ buildup from Phil. Absolutely fantastic. I love that. It's nice to hear one that's a little bit longer, that's kind of isolated, so we could really appreciate the depth in the tone and the sound of this organ is incredible. And then really brilliant Phil coming in from Russell on drums, and then it just takes off from there. This guitar sound to me is kind of a return to the early 70s. Just there's something about it. I don't know if it's the style or the tone or both, but there's something about it that really feels like those days. I love the way that Mick plays guitar. There's really not anybody that plays quite like him, is there, that comes up with the kind of riffs that he does, that just plays the way that he does or has the sound that he does. So really loving this so far. Right off the bat, it just kicks ass.
With the light of the world upon us, there'll be nothing to come between us. Something up ahead worth fighting for. You're thinking that life is easy. There's a danger you cannot see. Do you know who is coming through your door?
The first thing that I noticed is that we, in the opening, we had this huge sounding organ swell, really heavy. And now the organ is really diminished. It doesn't have that same distortion on it. It doesn't have that drive. It really is just kind of filling in and blending with the other sounds to thicken the song a little bit. Once again, what Mick is playing is great. It's just that, da-da-da, those little notes that make the sound so big when it's really very simplistic playing. And that's what the song needs at this point. You don't need to do always a lot of grandiose stuff when you're supporting the vocalist. You need to let the vocalist shine and tell their story. That's why they're up front in the mix. And Mick does a great job of support. But what he's playing, as simple as it is, really is just filling in so much sound. And that a lot has to do with the mixing. But overall, great stuff. I love when he plays like this. Bass is very simple, just really some strong eighth notes on the root. And let's see where the chorus goes.
To be one and free, that's all we need. Let the
So as I suspected we might hear, the grit is back in the organ during the chorus, and that does drive the song a little bit more, makes it sound much bigger. It really, I like this because it changes the feel from a verse to a chorus. It's not like you're playing the same stuff and you only know it's a chorus because there was a drum fill to lead you into it, or a key change, or something like that. It really gives you the feel that it's something completely different and set aside from the verse itself. I love the vocal layering here. It sounds so sweet to my ears, very powerful. Even with that grit that Bernie has in his voice naturally, it doesn't, exponentially replicate with the overall vocal sound. It just doesn't. I mean, it's not like you have grit on grit on grit. It actually starts blending together and blending in very nicely, which I think is really, really interesting and cool. But I love the sound of it overall. Love the increase in the drums, doubling the snare up into that build, going back into the next verse. But overall, it's really cool. It's a great song. I like the message of it. Just believe it and it's going to happen. Has led some people down the wrong road for sure. But I like the message. It's a good one.
Find that there's so much giving. Look for help and see how we're living. It's all the things you've never done before. If you want and breathe, that's all you need. Let the morning sunlight wash away your fear. Better believe.
I'm not sure if I like that stop or not. This is the second one we've heard in the same spot in the song. I'm not sure if it helps or not. This is a song that's got a lot of momentum to it. You don't necessarily want to lose that. I don't feel there's anything in the message, like in the lyrics, that would warrant a break of any kind. So I'm not really sure why the stop is there. I'm sure there was a logic behind it, but for me, I'm not there. But other than that, it's a great strong chorus, and it's a great strong pre-chorus. And this song is just packed with energy. I love it. As you guys who have been listening to the show for a while know, I am not a guitar player. There's a lot of the dynamics of how to play a guitar that I don't understand, how they get the sounds that they do. It's a really unique instrument. And what I'm hearing, though, in Mick's solo at the beginning is it's almost like he's delaying the start of the note, or he's doing something to drag it a little bit and throw it slightly off of the tempo, which is really cool. It's almost like a moan or a howl coming from the guitar, which I like, but I don't know exactly how he's making that happen. I'm sure that a lot of you guys out there are guitar players and probably know, and you're like, oh, it's this and this. That's all it is. I'm sure it's something very simple, but I love the sound of it. The effect that it has on the song is very powerful. And, if he's delaying it a 30-second note, or maybe even a 64th note, I don't think it's that much. It's probably a 30-second. It just adds some really intriguing bits to the song, I think. It was a good choice, definitely a good choice.
Now I have your concentration. Now I've got your imagination. In a word, I frustration. All you need is determination. There's so much life worth fighting for.
Now that stop at the beginning of the organ part, I can get behind. I think that's a good place between Mick's solo and the synth starting up. I think that's a pretty good spot because the song just changes completely at that point. It sounds to me like Mick is doing some stuff with his volume knob during this section. I can't be sure, but I thought I heard it in a couple of spots. It's very faint in the background, but I like what Phil's playing here. It's intriguing. It's such a dramatic change, and now it's an element of mystery. And that's a great thing. The song's got some good transitions in it. Apart from the stop that I'm not sure about, other than this one, I think the song really carries along well. I feel like that stop throws off the momentum a little bit. I think that's what's bothering me about it the most. But this stop right here going into the quieter part before the vocals come back in, that works for me. I like that one. Boy, some great playing from Russell Gilbrook on this one. The guy is just so full of energy. I love it. I love how creative he is, but I love what a great drum mix he's getting. I really, really appreciate that. You can clearly hear what he's playing. It's very important that the drums are driving this kind of music along with the rest of the rhythm, whether it be the guitar or bass or both. So vital that drum set has to be there. And this sits so perfectly in the mix. The tones are clean. You can tell what he's hitting, and you can tell, every hit that he's making is very clearly defined. And it's about time. But the other thing that bothers me, I realized in this last chunk that we listened to about that stop, is that they're coming into a very energetic part. So to have the song stop and then just start up at a high energy point, that's kind of thrown me off a little bit. So again, I can't say I know why they did it. I would have rather have had some kind of other transition in there that made sense, but the stop just kind of kills the momentum. And then you're like, oh, well, they're starting again. It kind of takes me out of it. So it's a little bit awkward for me. But apart from that, this is a damn good song. Nice ending, very smooth. I don't know what that grittier sound was, whether that was the guitar or another synthesizer or part of the organ coming out. But the ending organ there obviously didn't have any distortion on it. It's back to that verse organ that we were hearing before. But I love the tonality of it. I think it's just such a beautiful instrument and definitely has its place in this kind of music. But great stuff from Mick in that section. Great stuff from Russell. Those at the beginning of that, when they changed to this last part again, he was doing a little bit of dynamics on the hi-hat. That's really cool. When you're doing this, just like hitting the bass drum and the hi-hat, and maybe you're doing eighths on the hi-hat and quarter notes on the bass drum, so there's twice as many hi-hats. You could throw in those little dynamics like that, just little triplets and things that make the song a little bit more interesting and just takes away from that. Monotonous isn't the right word, but it's almost like a mind-numbing snare thing. It snares you and you just lock onto it. It almost is kind of hypnotic. Hypnotic is kind of the word I was looking for. Just that boonch, 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 it just kind of grabs you and keeps you in that zone. And sometimes you don't even notice the things that are going around you because you're just kind of locked into that beat. But there's some really cool stuff going on in the back. Trevor was very straightforward on this song, much more so than some of the other songs on this album. But, there's a lot of stuff going on. So maybe he didn't really need to venture around the bass guitar too much. I think what he played was great. Great delivery from Bernie as always. But this is a really powerful song. Except for those stops, I think this song is just killer, a really killer track. I would love to know what's behind that. But the power of the song, the tempo, the builds that come in after the solo in the end of each chorus, very powerful, really good stuff. And again, great work from Russell as well. So for our 250th review, I would say we landed on a really good song. I did not plan any of this. Basically, I started with episode 1 and whatever date it was going to start on. And then I just basically listed in order all of the songs the way that they were released, except for some of the final bonus tracks were ones that either I don't know where they went, I'm not exactly sure, or just have no clue, but I was able to get a hold of it. So all those will just be in kind of a season of their own at the end. But this was a great track for our 250th song, to have something so powerful and energetic and positive. I like the positive message of it too. So a really cool song, no doubt about that. And that will do it for our show today, guys. I hope that you enjoyed the rest of your Thursday. If you are Monday through Friday working people, one more day, guys, and we'll have a weekend. If you are not Monday through Friday working people, you probably don't have weekends. And so I will just say, take advantage of the time that you have. Very vital, especially in our society these days. You guys take care. We'll see you tomorrow for the Friday show. Another wonderful track from Into the Wild. Cheers. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Uriah Heep, the Magician's Podcast. If you have enjoyed this show, please consider going over to Apple Podcasts or your favorite podcast outlet, leaving a rating or a review. Be sure to subscribe to make sure that you are notified when new episodes are available. Please be sure to share this podcast with your fellow Uriah Heep enthusiasts and anyone who you think would like Uriah Heep, which should be everyone. And if you are so inclined, please feel free to contribute to the Patreon account. And if you are not a Patreon subscriber, you can also pay through the PayPal link on the website listed in the show links below. I would also like to thank Uriah Heep for their very generous support of the show, and thank you guys for listening. We'll see you in the next episode. Happy days!